Morning to everyone out there. This is Brad the Love Coach coming to you this morning. And today I'm continuing the conversation talking about sexual predators and the healing of sexual predators and the abused. Today is a no joking around day. I'm very fired up. I'm very passionate about this subject right now. The reason being that I've had some really great response from the last video I posted, and I've gotten some great response from women who have totally different perspectives on beginning the healing process of this situation that we have going on in the world. They were kind enough to share their own experiences with me. I have 3 totally different experiences of women who, some have been abused, some who have different ideas, but what it's like from the woman's perspective. I've shared with you some of the beginning of what it's like from the man's perspective, but now I want to share with you some insight I've had since these amazing women have shared their ideas with me. The reason I'm really fired up about it is because we really need to do something about this right now. This is something that needs to start now. At this very moment, to start having these people, these abusers, to wake up to themselves and to stop harming these young people, because they have no idea the psychological ramifications that this causes onto these young people. Life is hard enough, people. Life is hard enough. We don't need anything else thrown on top of it, okay? So today, the Love Coach is not playing around. So one instance I want to speak of is a friend of mine who actually was abused herself, and she grew up in Europe, and she has some different ideas that I think are fantastic. One thing over there is that they came up with legalizing prostitution. Now, some of you may be really judgmental of prostitution. Some of you may think that's outlandish. But I actually think that's a really, really good idea. It's already going on in this country anyway. It could be something that we put into place, and you know, in Nevada, at some of those places, it's actually legal, and tax it and make it a really clean profession. There's specials on TV, reality special about a horror. I say whorehouse. I mean, that's what they call it, but a prostitution house that where this is actually happening, and the women that work there are actually very mentally well, and that they get paid well, and the whole thing. But that is one avenue, one idea that could possibly start the beginning of these people, these men who feel they have to go out and abuse, or you know, they don't have a choice, and that they use the internet as a avenue for their being a predator. On the same note, these men, the people. There's 2 different types of people. One is the people who've been abused themselves, and then there's the people who have not been abused, but they use that as an excuse to go and they haven't done the work on themselves. So then they want to use someone who's more naive and go and experience it that way. Okay, they're 2 very distinct people. The people who have been abused themselves, you need to seek help. Okay. This is something that the natural cause, there's not a natural desire to have sex with a child. There is not a natural desire to have sex with a child, period, unless you've been abused yourself. Okay? So, there's no way around that. The only thing that is ever going to happen is that you've got to seek some sort of help for yourself. I know people personally in my life who this has happened to. Okay, so I do have some relationship to this, and I've had many conversations about this. So the effects are so great, as you can see, if it's happened to you, the effects are so great on you that you will do it to someone else. And it really does get to a point where my other friend who works in child protection services, she sees this every day. And the people who have been abused, the addiction is so strong that they have to go out and do that. And they ask for castration, they ask for these things to be able to see their own children, because their desire is so strong to do that. So that's how bad this messes people up. So if you don't get that, let me say that again. That's how bad this messes people up. That's how messed up they get by being sexually abused. So then they have to go out and do it. It's like becoming a crack addict, okay? So you have to get help yourself. You have to seek help. You have to seek ways of healing for this, if that's happened to you, okay? The next step is not to go and then abuse, because you're creating the same exact cycle in that next person's life. Okay? So then there's the men that I was talking about who have not been abused sexually. Okay, your responsibility is to be accountable for your sexual desire. Is to be accountable for your own maleness and having to deal with your penis. And I know what that's like, okay? But the answer is not to go and be with a younger person because they're not ready for that. It's to deal with yourself. And honestly, all this comes down to your own spirituality, okay? For me, I call it being plugged in. And it's me being plugged into my God, my source, whatever you want to call it. But your lack of being plugged in to your source is what has you make bad choices and go and do that. Okay, I've had the thoughts myself. I've had all those thoughts. I know what that feels like. But the second you plug yourself back into your source, you have power again. And you can create the love and the relationship and have the sexual energy with a woman that's properly right for you. You can have that if you're willing to take that leap. But you have to be willing. It's not okay to go and prey upon some young girl because she doesn't know what she's doing. You will get caught. You will get caught. And you will go to jail. You will. Okay? If you do it enough, you will get caught. And you're going to have to face those consequences. So why not start down the road of your spirituality and plugging yourself in first? Okay? So, and then I also have had a friend, I also have another friend who just gave me some great insight into the female psyche. And, you know, it's like, I have compassion for you women because, you know, as you develop so much earlier at a young age. And so you develop sexual, you know, your body develops at a much younger age where you're mentally you may not be developed. So, that's a difficult thing to deal with. And, all I can say is I'm sorry for that. That's something we both have to be responsible for. That's something that as women you have to be responsible for. Hopefully your parents are smart enough that they can see that as well. But also us as men, we have to be accountable for that you may look a certain way, but you're not ready for that. Okay, so that's our job as men. So basically, I'm talking to you men out there who want the easy way out and who want to go and be with these young girls because it's the easy way out. That's not the answer. Okay? You will get caught. At some point, you will get caught. And you will get into really deep trouble. And if you want to avoid that route, start to look within yourself. Deal with yourself. Deal with your feelings. Deal with that. There's other routes to this, to healing for you. Okay? There's no point in putting that energy onto a young girl who can't handle it and who then is messed up the rest of her life. Okay, this isn't like a one-time thing. She's messed up the rest of her life. And she has to deal with those feelings. I apologize to anyone who's been sexually abused. I'm sorry for you that that's happened. But it's not then to go and project it onto someone else. You wouldn't want that done to your own children. So don't do that yourself. There are avenues of healing. There are avenues of new ways. The legalizing prostitution is one avenue that is actually, it may seem like a crazy idea, but it is actually very relevant. My friend said that over there in Germany, that the sexual abuse has dropped down to 2%. Okay, it's dropped down to 2%. If you give men an avenue, another avenue where they don't have to prey upon someone else, that's a possibility. So it's all about non-judgment of all these ideas. You have to think outside the box. You have to be willing to think outside the box and try new ideas to start the healing process. I know this may seem radical, this may seem out there, but until we're able to start thinking that way, we're going to stay in the same vicious cycle. And that is not the direction we want to go. The second you have a child, you understand that. The second you're around your own child, you don't want anything to happen to them. So you have to start thinking outside the box. This is Brad, the Love Coach.